second series. And let's do that right now here. John, why don't you introduce our lovely players?
The Flickety Flam, up in the top right, it will be the Zerg player, BLAST.Roof. And down in the bottom right, the Korean now living in Germany, playing in the Type house, it is Type.ReaL. And you know, I want to talk a little bit about the two players here, starting in the top left with Roof, who is one of those players I think that, again, very much so like Cupcake, not a lot of people have known about. But keep in mind, Roof has qualified for 2 MLG arenas in a row, just having been unable to attend. He actually was an old Counter-Strike player who cannot play in the ESL because he's serving out a ban for cheating in Counter-Strike that's a few years old. I believe it elapses in 2013, 2014?
Yeah, man, that ban has been long, and, you know, that was quite a while ago, and in StarCraft 2, as far as everyone knows, he is legit, and obviously making it very far here in the TSL number 4.
But, you know, I'm so glad that, you know, Roof, a lot of hackers have had this experience where maybe they just wanted to cheat to get approval, you know, to look better, that sort of thing. It backfires, but then you come to an event like this, it's very clear and easy to see when there's cheats going on, there's cheat detection. The only way that you can possibly advance is by hard work and grinding out those games and getting those solid strategies in. So props to Roof for making it here to the semifinals today, as you say, clean as a freshly showered health worker at the CDC.
Perfect, and we do see the pylon going to be going down here for real. It looks like he wants to just wall in the natural right at the ramp, not going for any fancy building positioning at all, is instead taking a slight risk here as that entrance will be exposed to any sort of Zergling attack in the early stages. However, we don't see Roof going for the earliest spawning pool ever, as he is already up to that quite heavy drone count up at that 15 here, so he could easily expand, but at the same time he'll most likely, once the pool finishes, get the Queen and the Lings to deny that pylon from delaying his own expansion. He does decide to go ahead and do that there, so no pylon is going to be frustrating to him because he can take it out. The Overlord is going to spot this, see exactly, hey, it's a forge fast expand, and he'll even be able to, I believe, scout the Nexus itself, so he knows the timing of when these were dropped and knows that he's in pretty good shape here.
So I'm quite impressed by the opening from both players. I mean, Roof, I honestly like this opening quite a bit. It's a 10 or 11 pool, didn't quite see the timing, but it's still early enough that if a pylon gets built at your natural, you can kill it off before you have 300 minerals to build it. And 2, it allows you to put on a ton of pressure against the opponent early on. You can send those links straight away, and if they get a little greedy with a Nexus first, you can blast the front door down. But I'm really impressed with Type.ReaL's opening because this building placement, you see how useful that pylon is that was part of the wall off at the top side. You can, even if you don't have time to build that second pylon, you can use the gateway and the cannon to complete that wall off if he's going for some sort of 6 pool. So it's a very nice defensive structure from Type.ReaL.
And the Nexus now going to be finishing up here for Type.ReaL. The double gas dropping down at pretty standard timings inside the main base. It's really going to come down to when does he decide to take the 3rd and 4th gas, because as Protoss, gas is such a valuable resource. You got to remember, Protoss has the most tier 3 units in the game. That means you have a lot of tech pads, but it's also going to take a lot of gas to get there. We do see Roof got to be going for the early 3rd base here, and that's before his natural is even completed. Got to be boogieing that Queen on down there. She'll be able to inject Larva right when she gets there. I got to wait for a second, and she did use it in the main base for that creep tumor there to connect these bases, which is something that you'll see a lot of Zerg players actually not do, which is always confusing to me because it's very useful to have the creep connect those bases, especially if you're going for the early 3rd base. You have to be able to swing back and forth to defend them, and also the destructible rocks at between the natural and the 3rd base. You can kill those off, and it's very easy to connect these bases with creep.
Yeah, you know, a lot of, pretty much in any strategy game, and especially with any race, that you expand along the direction of attack for certain types of compositions. You expand away from the direction of your attack with other types of things. Another factor to consider with Zerg is expanding along the spread of your creep. Especially love that that creep tumor placement does adjoin those 2 mains, but is also pointing towards the 3rd base, so we can continue to creep along without needing to get those extra tumors down. And we are seeing BLAST.Roof doing an unbelievable job of scouting the edges of the map. I mean, honestly, that's not hard to figure out that it's good, but it's one of those things that's hard to make yourself do in a game. You just want to go, I probably won't do it, and get a little bit lazy, but not Roof, not going to be lazy against a player of Real's caliber. There we see that first Zealot poking up, quite an early aggressive play from Real. We don't actually see a lot of players sending their very first Zealot out in this matchup.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see either a second Zealot or a Stalker join the fight, but the Zealot, if he gets 2 kills here, this is definitely worth it. I don't think he's going to be able to. He is delaying mining here, but you got to remember that the expansion is so early that it doesn't really matter there. I think only 1 Zergling being lost so far in this game for the Zerg player, so holding that off with relative ease. The Sentry's going to be working down these rocks, but Sean, this is going to take quite some time.
Look how early that layer is. That's a 7-minute layer. I mean, 7:30, 7:45 is considered an early layer, but I mean, 7 minutes for a layer? BLAST.Roof is I mean, I'm glad that I tied strings around my ankles this morning, Mike, because that play really knocked my socks off.
Nice.
Holy, that happened on air. Now, down in the bottom right, we see it looks like Type.ReaL going for a very standard 6-gate follow-up. So he's going to have 7 gateways total, building up the sentries right now, spreading those gateways out. He even has 2 behind the mineral patch in his main base to make sure that his opponent cannot quite see everything, no matter how he sends that Overlord in. And this could be disastrous if BLAST.Roof misplays, but it looks like BLAST.Roof might be going for a defensive Zergling play, trying to lead into Mutalisks.
Now he did manage to spot one of those, one of the gateways behind the mineral line, so he may know, hey, there's something sneaky going on here, even if he didn't physically see every single gateway that is available right now. We do have Burrow on the way, Zergling speed, as well as that Glial reconstitution, always a fun upgrade to say. And a slight misread here, Sean, as he is throwing down a couple of Spore Crawlers because he wasn't able to get the scouting intelligence that he absolutely needs inside that main base. The Overseer trying to scout it as well,
oh no.
But he gets tickled to death. That is so many sentries. More than you would usually expect to see, and another wave of 3 sentries. Sean, what are all these sentries for?
I mean, I hope it's for hallucination. I hope he gets like 6 hallucinated Colossi, marches in, loses everything, and says, man, well played, Zerg Imba. But instead we see Type.ReaL following this 7-gate play with Zealot Sentry. He may very well expand and then do a big push. This is one of the more unusual plays that I've seen. Oh my gosh, that's actually what he's going to do. This is a very unusual play, but notice that BLAST.Roof's play counters that almost perfectly. He's getting to burrow up. If an attack did happen, he'd have burrow up in time, but since no attack's happening, he still will have burrow in time to make the counter play with no detection on Real's front.
All right, here comes the Zerglings now moving down to the 3rd base. They're going to spot it and be like, wait a second, this wasn't here a second ago. Is going to get this round. May be able to force a cancel right away. The Sentry's not even bothering to get down there to force it to try and save it. He didn't cancel that there as he lost a lot of resources trying to kill the Zerglings to make up for it, but no cancel on that. That is a lot of money down the toilet. And also, I love Real's idea here, where he finished the wall in right here. It is Zergling tight, also Zergling proof as far as the cannon is concerned. He killed that off. The pylon goes down here, so I feel like Real has kind of shown his hand, and right now Roof is just going to be spamming a lot of units here. But is he going to have enough? Because he just made a big wave of drones.
Roof, as long as he holds this attack off, he can win. Look down at the 3rd base. We see burrowed Zerglings there. Roof has an answer for every play that Real would want to make, whether it's expand, attack. The fact that there's no robotics facility means that there are no observers. All Roof has to do is excellent burrow, unburrow, micro. But with this counter attack, I'm worried that Roof's not going to have enough units left at home.
There's no units here for Real either. That middle line's completely undefended. But here comes a big push for Real, trying to deny that 4th base and trying to decide exactly where to go. But all of a sudden, lots of units in his base. Sentries on the high ground. He's just got to be sacking that expansion. There is 2 gateways down there, plus the upgrade just now finishes that +1 armor, finishing seconds before it could potentially fall. So 1-1 is done. Are we going to be seeing a base race here? I don't know, Sean, because he can continue warping in sentries on the high ground.
I think we are in a base race situation right now, because the sentry count from Real almost negates the ability for any of those roaches to do anything. And look at this, BLAST.Roof embracing the base race situation. He is going for 6 Mutalisks, and Real, I think, how many sentries does he have on the map? He's crazy, 21 sentries. That's awesome. He's going to be trying to force field his way to a victory in this position, and Type.ReaL might have the correct answer with this extremely unusual mass sentry play.
Zerglings right there actually got a good surround, but they were on the move command as they had just spawned. And down here at the 4th base, just sending 1 Zealot there to lock it down. Every single unit going to be moving out across the map. Sean, My favorite pun to use ever. This is indeed the army of the century, as we do see the burrowed queens going down. The roaches right there are going to be hiding. Excuse me, the drone's going to be hiding as well. And he just cannot kill the sentry production here. It's just more and more sentries warping in. I think we're at even more sentries now. No, it's still at 21, but that is enough to hold the line. And right now, I mean, what can our Zerg player do? He has to expand somewhere on the southern side of the map. He does. He's got to be taking the third base for our Protoss player. Supply is still relatively even here, but these sentries are at full energy, so he can dictate the pace of the upcoming battles. But he is now losing inside the main base. Two cannons here are going to get taken out, but is there actually enough here to hold on?
I mean, it's all going to come down to Roof's ability to hunt down these buildings, continue to hide hatcheries. He's doing an excellent job burrowing as many drones as he can, but there we see the sentries finally evaporating in the main base. Type.ReaL really doesn't have any more answers, but is moving down mid-map with all of his stalkers, sentries, everything. The third down in the bottom left for BLAST.Roof is essentially his only running expansion. There is a Nexus down in the, a hatchery in the main, but with some of those broodlings, he might be able to hold on in there. Now we see all the probes trying to run, and ReaL doesn't take a single, Roof doesn't make a single attempt to try to kill those probes off, and now he's cornered in this main base.
Now he does have Burrow, of course, so he can sit
that's
here
actually
all
great.
day.
Yeah.
Can he use the micro that he needs? And he's trying to get himself into a good position. He wants to kill off these probes if he can, but also wants to retreat if he can. But I don't know if that's going to be an option here, as the hatchery almost done in the bottom center side. He could transfer all those drones down there. Zealots hacking away at the larva here, but such an awkward moment for both of these players. What a ridiculous first game that we're seeing here. He may text straight to Robo to try and get the detection, but this army has to stay in the main base because of the looming threat of those mutalisks.
Type.ReaL may have essentially pinned himself into defensive play for the remainder of the game, having elected to make that Nexus first. I actually don't dislike that comment about going straight for the rowboat. Who needs a main? I just need to be able to see things. Type.ReaL, though, supply block, would have to spend a little bit too much money, and with all those juicy probes there, wants to be able to make use of them. And here are 6 free Zealots, but we have to be very careful if we're in Roof's position. If we don't kill those Zealots off, they could do the essential scout to find out everything. Find where our drones are headed out. We see another sentry wandering in the middle of the map by that large space shark.
That sentry will be taken out with full energy. Still hasn't been able to spot the bases. I don't think he has any idea exactly where this game, or where this basically expansion has taken place here. And Roof has a lot of drones down here. Is it gotta have the income to actually be able to start throwing down those tech structures again? You can see the spawning pool going down. He does have 2 queens still chilling in his northern side base. This has got to be one of the weirdest games I've seen so far here.
It's like a
as
fun
we
day
do have
Monday.
the Robo on the way though, so I don't know if he's gonna have enough time to get the units out that he needs. The probes could go back to work, but he's leaving them right here for now to defend against those roaches. I don't know, man.
Oh, the Zealot spots the expansion, and now, oh gosh, Roof is in an unbelievably rough situation. He's going to have to run all those drones very soon now. The Observer is being chrono boosted out. No, it's not. It's actually just being built out, but even so, it is a painful spot to be in if you are going to be the Zerg player. Roof, after an incredible play, it looks like his units are going to be spotted. How quickly until he unburrows. Oh no! He gets the classic sentry hug. And see you later, Mass Roach Force. The sentry count of ReaL a little bit too high. And it looks like suddenly ReaL is looking more and more like he's going to be the winner.
Yeah, he can just move out to the left side. There are 20 lings on the way. A lot of Zerglings being produced here. The drones pulled off the line, but if he can buy time with these Mutalisks somehow, then maybe he can get out the required units. But with so many sentries, I feel like Zerglings are just not ever going to be able to get that surround. There they are right there. I believe spawning just with larva that was left over inside that main base. Did he ever bring down those 2 queens?
Oh, he has a lot of Zerglings out, and with the Mutalisks, he could take down that small number of Stalker Sentry we see in the middle of the map. Roof is very carefully repositioning this Mutaling. Mutaling, the perfect composition with these 2 bases on opposite sides of the map, but it looks like even so, Roof is starting to say more and more, you know, I don't want to be that guy who just tries to get up one spawning pool down in the bottom left, commits everything to defending that bottom left. I'm going to go back. And weirdly, the Overlords are able to vomit creep. I don't think there's a layer on the map. If you go up to the top, it looks like, wow.
Maybe they've been pooping this whole time, Sean, and they're like, we're not going to stop pooping. But either way, with Zergling Muta on the field,
we will not abandon our technology.
Those drones got to be transferring back now to that top right side. He's even throwing down another spawning pool, realizing that, hey, I'm going to be sacking this expansion most likely. And I think this is the first time I've ever seen, Sean, a player switch their base 3 different times to a different location on the map. But really, what can ReaL do here? other than just try and kill the expansion in the bottom left, because the other expansion in the top right is just so far away. There's Lair, by the way.
Lair is going down. Would likely be going for an infestor at this point in time. It's the compositional piece that's missing in this equation. And in low econ situations, always good to get mana-based units, as you can always charge energy even if you can't mine minerals. So almost certainly a second hatchery will be planted down by BLAST.Roof back at his old natural expansion. No, look at this, going down for that lefternmost base, having a full spread all around the map. Down in the bottom left corner, we see no drones mining from that expansion. Would definitely benefit Roof to just throw 2, 3 into the geysers down there, try to maximize use out of that, and we see a small force moving down from Type.ReaL to try to eliminate that expansion.
Yeah, I feel like Type.ReaL is realizing, hey, I don't necessarily need to kill this off right away because he's already left it, he's abandoned it, and he's not really using it for anything. I like how he's his good thinking of killing off the spawning pool first. Mutila's try and swoop in, but with Blink is able to hold it off, and the Zerglings not able to shut down. And almost get trapped on the ramp as well, but it is not meant to be. That Overseer is going to have to get out of there. And it does. So really, I mean, losing this expansion at this point, this expansion doesn't mean anything. It's all now about the top right expansion. We do have an infestation pit on the way. More spine crawlers. Actually, the first spine crawlers, I believe, of the game got to be added on. And this hatchery over on the left side is almost done. But right now, Shot, it looks like it's transitioning into kind of a standard 2 base versus 1 base.
And now we see that the Observer has been taken out, so suddenly we see Type.ReaL in the dark. He would have loved to keep that Observer up, but this especially will make Type.ReaL feel a little bit uncomfortable. He needs to make a push because he does see that there's that infestation pit coming. Needs to hit before the pathogen glands. What we see with the 6 spine crawlers going up, it's a classic Mutiling composition, and they're the Mutalists in the main, and the Zerglings encounter the army.
And the Mutalists, can they actually harass? Yes, they can. Completely undefended probes. Not that the probes really matter because he's got to go all in here. He's never expanded. No, he did actually manage to get an expansion. He's mined out in the main base.
Mike, this game! This game, Mike. It looks like we do see the Mutalist pinned up on the right side of the map. They actually don't really have a clear way to get out of the base, but we see Pathogen Clans has passed the critical 30-second mark. He can begin making those infestors. They will have that bonus energy. And there, BLAST.Roof gets distracted at the last second, starts to lose a lot of units, does manage to poop out 2 changelings, but we see a small army trying to move out to the north side. Zerglings do force a little bit of the force fields to be wasted, and it looks like another 25 seconds on those infestors. Will Type.ReaL be able to break in?
He does have a lot of energy left over on those queens because they've been chilling out burrowed for a long time. Oh, going for the rocks here so we can run by the spine crawlers. One spine crawler is in range, but do the stalkers actually have enough service area to get into that base?
The infestors! They're almost out of transfuse!
He'll be able to fungal them on the ramp, but transfuse go down.
There's the fungal!
There's one fungal. The Zerglings decide to go in. No, they decide to back out, and the army retreats, but can he actually retreat? Because the fungals are here trying to get huge fungals on the ramp here, Sean.
This is exactly what Roof needs, and he manages to nab every single one of those sentries. Will it be enough? He needs to just get them one more blast, and all the sentries now fall. BLAST.Roof doing a phenomenal job retransitioning back, and suddenly, upon finding that expansion, Type.ReaL has also guaranteed the death of those stalkers unless he runs right now. We see Templar Archive coming up for Type.ReaL. All the stalkers taking massive hits. Did BLAST.Roof pull this off?
I don't know. There is lots of reinforcements here, but it is only stalkers. You got to remember, though, they do have an upgrade advantage with that 1-1. And how many sentries are we down to? Finally down to a more normal number of 5. Hard to believe that we started with 21 at earlier stages of the game. But this is what happens when you go unorthodox builds, man, is these games start to get extremely wonky. That expansion finally up for Type.ReaL. He does have all of his probes there. I'm kind of curious on the income tab. It's almost identical because that other base has not been saturated quite yet. Army supply is looking at 60 to 49, so Type.ReaL is behind now in the army. He's also behind in tech.
Incredible.
Because it's Infestor Muta now, and all he's got is Blink Stalkers.
Absolutely incredible game. Type.ReaL transitioning to the 7 gateway play, taking the third base, going Zealot Sentry and getting 21 sentries, able to deflect counterattacks, able to continue to put on the pressure, but BLAST.Roof embracing this counterattack moment, going for the Ling Muta, and now suddenly BLAST.Roof is in a weird position where he needs 2 additional hatcheries just to be able to produce units and the drones that he needs. BLAST.Roof is stuck on 22 drones, feels uncomfortable trying to add on any more just due to the amount of pressure that he's under. Fortunately, Type.ReaL has expanded to his main and his natural. Those are the least mineral locations on the entire map. So now BLAST.Roof taking his 3rd, then taking that 4th expansion on the left, has plenty of mineral fields to mine from. Type.ReaL down in his natural expansion is looking pretty low on minerals already.
Now we don't see Psystorm on the way. This will most likely be for Archons unless he wants to really try and get the most cost-effective storms ever. He could go for feedback on the Infestors as well. It's a tough choice because he is getting High Templar off of one base, still mining gas inside the main base, but other than that, it's going to be tough to get out the amount of units that he actually needs. We do see a big swell of 12 drones on the way at a time here, and that does mean that he's finally feeling comfortable enough to get his economy back on track. And at this point, if he's allowed to go uncontested at on 3 bases, then he is going to be in great shape. The Hallucinated Phoenix sees exactly where the Mutalisks are at now. So Sean, this game,
Mike, this game between BLAST.Roof and Type.ReaL, one of the craziest, awesomest PvZs ever. That poll on your Facebook group has been proven empirically correct today. We see BLAST.Roof taking a lot of those extra gas geysers. He's going for +2 Zergling upgrade. I'm mildly concerned at the fact that BLAST.Roof does not have a Roach Warren. Not necessarily. BLAST.Roof types this game. He writes the word "this" with a C-R-A-Z and Y, but that's not uncommon in StarCraft 2. You know, what I'm going to note is that without a Roach Warren, he can't do the needed transitions that Zerg generally has available in that mid-late game stage. Wow, there's a lot of Zealots here and a lot of Archons. Let me flood with some Roaches.
Sean,
can't do it.
Psystorm's almost done. He
almost
has
done.
So many High Templar.
Oh no!
This is so many, and now it's actually done. He can play in a defensive position. I thought for sure we were going to see the most ridiculous battle, but now I would say it actually has swung back into the Protoss' favor because Psystorm High Templar mix is so good versus every single unit that we see the Zerg player have.
Hive coming up. I mean, he may very well transition to the more modern style of PvZ late game, which is Ultralisk, Infestor, Baneling, as the Ultrals can knock down all the force fields, tank a lot of hits, while the Banelings roll in and be totally freaking rad. At this point in time, though, Type.ReaL is fairly low on the gateway counts. He's been mining 1 base at a time for the most part. So now it's going to be up to Roof to continue to contain Protoss until that Hive tech is ready to go.
Type.ReaL not making any additional probes. Oh, the Infestor hit squad gets spotted! And I think that Roof actually noticed that they got spotted. Those High Templar, man, that would have been the biggest decisive battle so far in this game. The Mutalisks still trying to harass the main, but there is no way. That is a huge army chilling out inside the main. We mentioned before splitting the army. That's exactly what we're seeing Type.ReaL do here. His High Templar count is so high, but also susceptible to fungal there. If the Infestor somehow actually managed to spot it, there is a burrowed Zergling right at the entrance to help do just that.
And you know, it's a situation like this where Zerg really has the psychological advantage. In Protoss' shoes, you're used to relying on timings. This can happen at 17. This can happen at 14 minutes. These types of timings. However... Oh, no! Oh my god! That is perhaps the turning moment that Real has been looking for all game long. That is where the psychological swing happens. He loses all of them!
He didn't get a single fungal off there. Every single Infestor getting taken out.
Oh my god!
He now has a huge swell in supply lead. The Ultralisk Cavern is going to be on the way. Can Type.ReaL actually do this? Can he come back in this ridiculous game? I don't know. With a big counterattack, the Stalkers, though, are in position to defend. They're going to buy enough time. He also has Blink to buy more time, blinking towards his army there. He is going to kill off every single Zergling. The Mutalisks do now still stay alive.
Oh, when he burrows them, nice play. We do see the Ultralisk Cavern coming up. I was just talking about how Zerg generally has the psychological advantage in these late game situations. The fast units let you scout, see exactly what's up, and Real had to wait for some big moment to happen. The big moment is now, killing off every single one of those Infestors, and now that he's moving in, it's all going to be in that Ultralisk tech. See you later, extra base. I do not believe it. Real, an incredible play.
And right now the drone's trying to transfer away. Those are mostly just going to use in the next upcoming battle, though. Hive tech is done. 5 Ultras on the way. Zerglings being produced here, but I don't know if Ultras are going to be the answer here to this massive army. He is throwing out fungals, but there's no army to actually deny the blinks. So the fungal just wears off, doing minimal damage here. Can he get any more decent fungals? The position here is ridiculous, but it is also lining them up for some fungals. He does fungal on the High Templar, but not before they throw out storms. The Ultras are now going to be here. He's at a huge supply deficit. Does he have the upgrades he needs? Here he goes. The army is backed into a corner, just blasting these Ultras down. I think that's got to be it. Where the transfuses, no queens in sight to be able to do that. He is pushing for it as best as he possibly can. The Ultra is seemingly never dying, but it does look like right now the army here is going to stand. But I don't know, Shaw. These Ultras doing lots of damage. Nope.
Ultras almost unkillable, it seems, but still Real manages to take it out. This game, Mike, that's game